everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take another look here at Solana, see what's going on. We have broken free, or just barely above, this local point of control at 237, and of course swept a majority of that liquidation here locally, so we're going to take a look at that as well. But the thing we got to recognize too is we're still respecting this descending trend line until we break cleanly above it. It's really not a good cause for taking a long here. I know it seems kind of weird and crazy, but the simple sentiment here is that, depending on obviously how Bitcoin performs, will essentially determine where Solana goes. But Bitcoin's in this weird transition right now. And just to kind of make it clear, it's like it's ready to ABC its way down, but is also closing above a local support level there at 94.8, 94.7, somewhere in that range. So we got to give it a chance to see if that holds too. So when that kind of transition is occurring and you're trying to figure out what's going on with Solana, it's running one-to-one with Bitcoin right now. So we can't just be like, blindly taking along in hopes that Bitcoin does well too, right? Bitcoin needs to establish itself here, essentially work within its range or build a little bit more volume where it's at. And if it does, then I think it's more likely to continue higher. If it drops down before today's candlestick closes, the daily candle, then we might have more further consideration for coming lower. I was leaning towards a short on Solana yesterday. I'm glad we held off, of course. I was wanting to short at 235, and we've since broken through that. It's another reason why waiting can be important. Obviously, you missed out on opportunities for a long, right? There's that too, but we didn't force a bad trade. And again, waiting for confirmation helps, but sometimes it's not always the solution. So anyways, hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. Love to hear from you. Deeply appreciate those who are consistently doing so. Really appreciate you. But let's take a look here. This is the last 12 hours of liquidation. 242 to 244, that next area up there. Pretty heavy concentration. I mean, it's not massive, but we got, probably about $500 million, maybe you round up perhaps $1 billion in liquidation between here and 244, 245. So just know that exists. We also recognize too that 232, this lower level, has some liquidation as well. So we're closer to the upper range, therefore the price is more likely to go higher. That's kind of how that works. But when we look at liquidation from the macro perspective here, again, it's hard to tell, but you can see there's more liquidation on the upside than the downside. Of course, those are previous shorts from a couple of days ago, and we can see, a good chunk of change there, probably 1 to 2, maybe 3 billion if you add all that up between now and 246. The reason why that's relevant is just helping understand, motivation for the whales. It would make sense for the price to wick up at least a little further before it pulls back, if it even were to. Keep in mind, if it wicks up a little bit further and holds, then we'd be above that resistance level and be more likely to want to take a long with confidence, right? Between now and then, taking a long right now into a key level resistance and a descending trend line just doesn't make any sense. You're more likely to find success shorting in that regard. Anyways, take a look here. We don't have a magnificent, a super stark reality of super high leverage in either direction. Solana is actually pretty stable here, letting us know that there's just about as many people taking longs as there are taking shorts. Okay, slightly more shorts, of course, but it's fairly close. We look here, of course, as well at the open interest. We can see, of course, we got to probably zoom out a little bit. 250 is that heaviest concentration of liquidation. Not liquidation, I apologize. Open interest basically means that a lot of people are still underwater. They're holding until they get back to that level to either close or to be super greedy and hope the price goes higher. Okay. Again, not the market to be greedy, folks. That's why I sarcastically say that. But the truth is, you're going to find some success here at this point. Going either direction with Solana. I know it sounds kind of funny, but everyone's based on open interest and or just liquidation levels. People are not quite sure where it's going to go, and it's justifiably so, right? So at this point, let's take a look at the daily time frame. We can recognize we're over 50 on the RSI and 20 on the RSI. So both these things the SMAs rather. Sorry, this is a simple moving average. We're above both. That's always very good. And we look at the RSIs too. We can recognize we are over 50, but below 70. So these are generally favorable signs in the overall sense, letting us know the overall uptrend is still likely to continue. Okay. So again, just shorting blindly into Solana doesn't make a ton of sense, but it can still be viable depending on how things work out, because we have diverged on the MACD here. We're about 3 days in. Keep in mind, of course, you're going to see that kind of divergence when you have a corrective candle like we saw there. I mean, in 3 trading days, we've seen a 15% correction from Solana from top to bottom. So, obviously the momentum has shifted, but the truth is we're still above a lot of support ranges, and that's probably the more important thing here. I don't put a ton of emphasis into momentum indicators, but On certain time frames, I do, and this is where things are kind of looking more favorable for Solana. Is the MACD convergence here on the 4-hour time frame? That's usually a favorable sign. Once again, we're converging right into a key level resistance here. So again, 240, 242, right in that range. We got a lot of resistance. We've got our local point of control at that 238 range approximately, depending on how far out you zoom in. And if we take a look here, the money flow index is pretty low. Okay. Now again, that's going to factor in the significant amount of selling pressure, so it's not the best gauge right now, but we're under 50 in the RSI still. A lot of reasons why, taking a long right now is kind of higher risk. I know it seems crazy, but generally speaking, you in situations like this, you trust the trend and you trust the volume. And right now we're seeing a diminished amount of volume here leading into this push. Kind of leads me to believe it's not sustainable. Okay. Again, good momentum, right? That's one thing, but that's not everything. Hourly time frame. Let's quickly verify Ichimoku Cloud and just confirm there's another false positive, so to speak. We've been seeing this a lot with Bitcoin. It's kind of faking people out here. In other words, it's above the cloud, still telling us that it wants to continue higher on the hourly time frame. But the macro is still screaming bearish divergence. So it's a funny thing right now. It's hard to want to trade into that. Me personally, I feel like Bitcoin should pull back a little bit. And if so, I would think that Solana should follow suit, just mainly based on us going into this key level resistance range. A lot of volume here, a lot of resistance. And we take a look at the Ichimoku Cloud. This is a confirming factor here in some ways. In other words, it's got good momentum to the upside. Lagging spans free and clear. Those are 2 out of 2 awesome indications. The third one here is kind of not quite sure what it wants to do, because we want to close above the cloud at least 3 or 4 hours above. That's generally the rule of thumb. And we peaked above and now we're down back within. So there's a lot of reasons why it doesn't make a ton of sense to take a long at this exact moment. But it's also, if that's the funny thing about it, it's also telling us we should take a long too here soon, right? That's the funny thing. So again, what do you trust? Do you trust a trend line or do you trust a smaller time frame breakout? It really depends on what kind of trader you are. If you are a longer term holder, then I would say the overall sentiment is still looking like it may come down a little bit. However, short term, it does look like it wants to continue higher. So there's that too. So again, a bit of a conflict here, folks. When you have these kind of conflicting parameters, it's always best to kind of wait on the sidelines to see what happens first. Me personally, if Bitcoin can't close above 95K today, then it would make sense for a short to happen. And of course, it would be too late for a short at that point as well. So that's the funny thing. Everything's kind of, the system is designed to kind of trick you. Like right now, market makers want everyone to take a late long. And the likelihood of you finding success there is still high, don't get wrong. There's a lot of reasons why it should be beneficial. But it's just hard to want to FOMO into a type of descending trend and a heavy resistance, at least with Solana. That's my thoughts right now. So I'm going to wait. I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord to give you a little bit more perspective after cleaning up the charts here. But at this point, I would say no trade is a good trade. That's just kind of where I'm going to go mentally when I see this kind of conflicting information. While I want to take a long right now, it just feels too good to be true. That's just kind of where we're at right now. All right, that's kind of where we are. Thank you again so much for watching. Looking forward to working with you if you want to become a better trader. CryptoCash.tech is a site, link down below. We got a lot of new traders coming over, so welcome on board. Quick little heads up too as well. We took some nice profits here on our Bitcoin short and our Tau long to offset this stop loss for Polkadot. And yes, folks, stop losses do happen. This is a very normal thing. That actually mitigated a lot of loss because the price went a lot further. Okay, so again, just so you know, good traders, bad traders, whoever, stop loss is a very normal thing. And again, that could have been a much larger one hadn't we chose to use that. Either way, no matter what, congrats on the new profits there. And again, those are that offsets any kind of potential trade that you have. So that's why you want to kind of hedge your trades in different directions sometimes, because the market is a very, very funny thing right now. Anyways, that's what we got. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.